Hi there. Today I'm going to talk about claims regarding the miraculous events of the Old Testament, for example, the Hebrew Bible. Let's take the global flood or localized flood, however you want to see it. I know I've talked a lot about this recently, but Christians or believers in these stories who think they are literally true have to scrabble around looking for evidence that they are true outside of the Bible in order to try and convince skeptics like ourselves that, believing in the global flood is a rational enterprise. And what they do is they look for scientific, naturalistic evidence. So look for geologic evidence of a global flood. They look at how water can accumulate and stay in certain areas this amount of time and behave in this sort of way and that sort of way. And the problem is they produce a bunch of effectively pseudoscientific evidence and data that try to shore up their belief. But of course, the evidence that the flood didn't happen far outweighs the evidence that it did. And they are left really scrabbling around the dirt looking for evidence that really isn't there. So what's their other option? Well, the other option is to say that actually it was a miracle, and God with God's omniscience and omnipotence and omnibenevolence and all these attributes was able to and willing to create this event that took place supernaturally. But in order to really follow that through, you have to say, because it's interesting, there's a paper by Jonathan Fishman that talks about how the supernatural can be tested. So that if a supernatural agent, like a god, creates a miracle, then there is necessarily sort of this interaction with the physical world. Because you're talking about physical stuff happening, it's just miraculous in some way. So it's physical stuff not adhering to physical laws. If it's answering a prayer, then there's something physical taking place that wouldn't have otherwise taken place. If it's someone healing, if it's a global flood happening, then you've got physical phenomena interacting. Water, huge amounts of water molecules. And so therefore, there should be the evidence of this. So it's one thing to say, oh, it's just the supernatural. I don't need to explain how that happens. Well, you kind of do, because you need to explain where the evidence is. So if these things did happen, we should be able to test them. We can test the supernatural. That's what Fishman's paper says, is that we should be able to test the supernatural because it is an interaction with the known physical world. So if that's the case, so take the flood again, then where does that leave you? Because that you're saying, okay, God supernaturally interacted with the world and created this flood. We should still see all of the evidence of the flood. So we should still expect all that data to be there. So if you still can't come up with the data, it's no good just saying, oh, it was a supernatural event, because it leaves its mark. So then the next thing that the theist has to do is to say, okay, God cleaned up afterwards. So that it was a supernatural event, and then God kind of created all these things and then swept them up afterwards, so that it looks like it never happened. And it's rather similar to Satan planting fossilized bones in certain rock strata to make it look to the skeptic like evolution is a thing, but actually it's just Satan planting evidence, and it's not really a thing. And you have to ask yourself, why would God want to do that? In the case of fossilized bones, why would God want to fool us into thinking evolution was the mechanism of speciation and diversity in the natural world? Why would God want to clear up a massive miraculous event like the global flood, or even a massive localized flood, or the Exodus account of the plagues and the sea parting and then destroying the Egyptian army? If we can't find any evidence of this, then you're suggesting, theist, that God has created a miracle and then cleaned up after, which is to say that God is trying to make it look like those events didn't happen. So why would God go to the effort of making those events take place and then hiding the evidence of those events from humanity? And it's a real problem. Theists are in a bind because they need to find the natural evidence for their huge events. Otherwise, it's really difficult to convince skeptics or anyone that those events really took place. You're not rationally justified in believing them just because they appear in a holy text. Otherwise, you'll be believing all holy texts. So what's special about your text? Well, for those claims to be true, they need to be evidenced outside of the Bible. So therefore, we need to look for evidence of all these miraculous events. And if they aren't there, then you are forced to say that the evidence isn't there for a reason. And that reason is because God has hidden the evidence after creating those events in the first place, which is to say to the whole world, look, I'm going to kill everyone in a flood and kill all these animals. And then you're going to write about it. Okay, and if you're a traditional literalist, you might even think that God has dictated this to Moses, said, right, I want you to tell the world about this. You're going to write it down in the Bible, and that is going to be the revelation for humanity, revealing all these events and revealing my intention as God and revealing myself as God in some way. But I'm still going to clear up a bunch of these events after the fact. Whoa, mixed messages going on there. It doesn't make any kind of sense. So I think God clearing up afterwards, after these huge events in biblical history, is hugely problematic and is obviously, not a reasonable thing to claim. I mean, it's completely unfalsifiable. I can claim that I've been revealed all of reality by a half rabbit, half unicorn God who came down to me yesterday and revealed everything and created all of existence, but has actually cleaned up afterwards so that there's absolutely no trace of rabbit unicorn God, and you would never know rabbit unicorn God existed, but rabbit unicorn God does exist. Well, that's not particularly persuasive as an argument because it's completely unfalsifiable. You're just saying stuff that you got no way of either proving or disproving, and it just becomes a mere assertion. So I think the theist is in a really difficult situation because I think as soon as you start looking at the Old Testament stories and finding that there is no real evidence for them, archaeological, historical, geographic, geologic, all these different forms of evidence are lacking, or there is evidence against those things happening, the theist is in a real bind because, like I said in an interview with Neil on Gnostic Informant the other day, that if all of these claims in the Old Testament are found wanting, then what justification do Christians have for believing their, Christian Bible, the New Testament, which is built on the foundations of the Old Testament, the Hebrew Bible? If Jesus is God, is Yahweh, and Jesus is coming down to fulfill every jot and tittle of the law, and we are saying that actually we can find no evidence that all of these things in the Old Testament actually happened, then the New Testament is called into question, and Christians have a real problem. So they really do need to find evidence for these Old Testament events, but they just aren't finding the evidence, and they can't find the evidence because they didn't happen. And they then get their knickers in a twist trying to justify how there is no evidence for these events. Anyway, just a little sort of ramble through the weeds of the Hebrew Bible. As ever, question everything. Please like and subscribe and share and do all that kind of YouTubey stuff. But failing that, I've got a bunch of books that you might want to buy. Please do. Whoop whoop. Anyway, take care, stay safe.